Are opioids as powerful and addictive as people say? I know they are. Ask me how I know. None of your business.
Hey, Auntie.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, and welcome back to We Are Your Aunties show. We hope that you have been amazingly blessed the whole time that we've been away from you since last week. And we are here tonight with a very special topic. It is quite important that all of us from the village, from every level, from the oldest to the youngest, the biggest to the smallest, the shortest to the tallest, we all need to be in on this conversation because it affects us all. Hello, aunties. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Whew, I have to be honest. I'm a little nervous tonight. This is a big topic. It's huge.
It is.
And you know, I'm ready to go though, because it's very important that the aunties bring information to the village that's going to make a difference. So how are you, Auntie Genoa?
I'm doing well. It's about to be lit. Put your ears on and follow the information.
Okay, so we got an echo somewhere, DY. I don't know where it is, but can you please help us fix it? Testing. Okay, great. So let's just dive into this. Okay, let me tell you the way we came up with this topic first. Yeah, something's off. It's okay though. The way we came up with this topic is that I got an email from my husband. And the title of the email was something that he had heard and then read on the NPR, which is, National Public Radio Station. Mm-hmm. And he said, I think this would be a really great topic for the aunties. And I thought, oh, what did he send me? Must be something wonderful. He loves me so much. And the title of the article is Opioids Are Killing More Black Men, Largely Due to the Spread of Fentanyl. Mm-hmm. And I had heard about fentanyl in passing. I hadn't really focused any real attention on it, but I just read through the article and then I went to NPR and I listened to the interview that one of the hosts, Layla Fidel, had with Cody Short and Ricky Smiley. Now, if you don't know who Ricky Smiley is a well-known comedian from Alabama, famous for his nationally syndicated radio show where he often jokes about Southern culture. But lately, Smiley has been consumed by a much more serious issue, drug overdose, and particularly fentanyl. So apparently, fentanyl is making it's spreading like wildfire. Fentanyl overdoses, and it's not just overdoses that people can recover from easily and effortlessly. They're dying. They're dying from fentanyl. And it's not just Black men. It's across the board. However, it's particularly killing Black men, and specifically Black men in Alabama. Mm-hmm. So let's get into this. I, first of all, understand what opioid addiction is. In 2008, I was on my way to one of my assignments as an associate producer, and it was my very first day. You might know Cesar Millan, the dog trainer, right? The dog whisperer. And they had hired me as an associate producer, and I was on my way there, to make the most money I've ever made. Like, it was a big, big deal. And I was excited about going, and I got up that morning, got all dressed, hugged and kissed my husband, got in my car and took off. I get to an intersection. I look both ways because, you know, we had an entire organization that was built around driving, right? And so driving instructors, and we knew all the rules of the road. And so I looked left, I looked right, I looked left again, and I proceeded to go through this intersection. And the next thing I know, my car had stopped. There was nothing wrong with my car. It was perfectly fine. It was stopped by a red truck that hit me doing 50 miles an hour in my driver's side door without stopping or slowing down. And so I was injured. My pelvis was broken in several places, and they came to get me in an ambulance. And the minute that I told them that I was in pain, they injected me with morphine. Felt better. Got to the hospital, and, you know, they examined me and all those things, and I'm spinning the night. I've got glass in my hair. I'm bloody. I'm all the things. And so the nurse comes in, cleans me up, gets the glass out of my hair. She was very sweet. And then they started with the pills. And these pills were like on the clock. Like, I think it was every 8 hours or whatever it was, I was getting pills. And these pills put me in a state of euphoria, along with, you know, the getting rid of the pain. And I took the pills in the hospital. They gave me some pills to take home. And I mean, I'm just taking these pills. I'm just taking these pills because they're making me feel better. Mm-hmm. Well, after a while, you know, I didn't walk that summer. I stayed in the bed, I stayed in the house, you know, all the things. But I was taking these pills. And after a while, I started getting better, right? The pain was subsiding. I was going to physical therapy. They say, you know, take your pills before you come to physical therapy, you know, so that they can manipulate you and you won't be in agony. So I take the pills. And I started noticing that my breathing was changing. Mm-hmm. I was struggling to breathe when I would take the pill. And I couldn't really think straight. My equilibrium was off. My mental equilibrium was off balance. And still taking the pills. And then there came a day when my prescription ran out. Mm-hmm. And so I found myself going to clinics, going anywhere where I could go tell somebody how much pain I was in and get these pills. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. After a while, I was taking the pills, and then something told me, Paige, look up what's in these pills. And I did. Mm-hmm. And I saw the word opioid. Mm-hmm. And when I saw opioid, I said, you know what? The root of opioid is opium, which comes from the poppy plant. Yes. And what I know about that is that is the main ingredient in heroin. Mm-hmm. And I got out of bed and I took the pills and I dumped them down the toilet and I flushed the toilet and I never took another one. Mm. But what's interesting is that the pills were also causing phantom pain. Mm. So it was a hallucinogen as well. So what that means is that when the pain came, it made me feel like I needed some more of these pills. Mm. But in actuality, when I flushed the pills, I didn't feel any more pain. Phantom or otherwise. I mean, there was the normal soreness and recovery pain, but not the pain that the pills were signaling to my brain.
Wow.
So I can understand how people can get addicted to like the Percocet and the Xanax and all of those things. But the problem with this phenomenon or this epidemic, let's call it what it is. Yes. This epidemic is that there are fake pills, fake prescriptions, fake medications that are laced with fentanyl. And it doesn't take much fentanyl at all to kill you, not just get you high, not just cause an overdose, but kill you. And it only takes as much as can fit on the tip of a pencil lead can kill you.
Wow.
And the problem with this is when people are taking their drugs, they don't understand. They don't know that their drug is laced with fentanyl. The other thing that I've discovered since my husband sent me this wonderful article is that the new marijuana, the marijuana that is registered, certified, legal in the state of California and other states is also often laced with fentanyl. And because people can buy the weed or the marijuana over the counter now, they assume, right, it's legal, so it should be okay. But it's not. No. This ain't your mama's weed.
Well, for a while there. For a while there, when they were first legalized the weed, you can go and find in the grocery store, they had the magazines and they showed you the different types of weed. And they was all different strange looking colors and everything. But what I've noticed most of all is they were putting stuff in there to make you like they do the cigarettes, to make you addicted. So you go in there and buy. And these things weren't cheap. I mean, we're talking like $50 to start. A lot. For a little bit.
Dr. Yvonne, you made me lose my earring. She said, not your mama's weed or your grandma's weed. I mean, they would grow it for medicinal purposes a lot of times in the country and in the city too. But and it was for medicinal purposes. It really was, but it was all natural.
Yeah.
And now there's so much chemical in there. But let's get into this because one of the things that I recognized is that, there are a lot of celebrities that have had fentanyl overdoses.
Yes.
Two very popular celebrities that we know about, Prince and Michael Jackson. Yeah. Both died from fentanyl overdoses. And Prince accidentally took the fentanyl, but somebody put it in his presence. They gave him access to it to be able to take it. But I'm getting way ahead of ourselves. So Alabama, why is it that the Black men in Alabama in particular are dying from fentanyl overdoses? Let's examine that for a second. What do you think, ladies?
You know what? To me, it's just another epidemic like they did back in the 70s, with the crack. I mean, the 80s with the crack. And it's all, and I just want to say that this is deliberate. This is nothing, because, and especially in the 80s, there was not a lot of Black people flying planes to different foreign countries, bringing back all of that dope. But it ended up in our neighborhoods. And something tells me that is not just a mistake. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about this particular drug, because it's killing celebrities. Prince spoke out a lot about the chemtrails. And then next thing you know, he was dead.
And it was also after he got his catalog back.
Yes. And the same thing with Michael Jackson. He wouldn't let go of those Beatles. He wouldn't let that go. And then he was dead. So it's not just the lay person. It's everybody. And it's so many people that are dying. And this is not something where people are like, oh, that's a mistake, because there's too many mistakes. So, but I feel like it's deliberate. And what way to get rid of a people or you know, because I've heard myself, I don't know if anyone else heard, but one of the big moguls talking about we need to purge the earth.
Decrease the population, right? And
Yes,
you know
so
what?
yeah,
They're not hiding it. They're
they're
not
not.
hiding it. No, this mogul
Oh,
that you're
no.
talking about, Bill Gates.
Yes, exactly.
Let's not mention Bill
Plenty of
Gates.
interviews where it's on there.
He
But the
literally
thing
did
is,
a TED talk about it.
I'm sorry?
He literally did a TED talk about it.
He
Go ahead,
did.
Auntie.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Now-
of course, his children and his grandchildren and his family, are they going to be purged? I think not. So they're going to go for the poor, disadvantaged people that are always going to Africa testing and putting all types of drugs and want to throw $1 at them to see how they affect. Those drugs, you do get hallucinations. Morphine, that's the first thing you want to give. I've been through 3 deaths in the last 2 years, major people in my family, and it was always with the morphine drip. That is how they're getting people out of here.
Yeah.
The older people that feel like they don't matter anymore, or people that don't have an insurance.
Yeah. Let me read a little something, and then I see Auntie Genoa is going to jump in. What is the narcotic called fentanyl? Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid, so it's not even a natural opioid. They pumped it up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. So, Auntie Rose, you were just talking about some of your relatives having died from the morphine drip and turning up that drip and giving too much. Can you imagine 100 times morphine?
Wow.
It's a major contributor to fatal and non-fatal overdoses in the US. There are 2 types of fentanyl, pharmaceutical fentanyl and illegally made fentanyl. Both are considered synthetic opioids, which is where all the hallucinogenics come in.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Auntie Janelle. I see you biting at the bit.
oh well, yeah, yeah. This is my thing, because you were talking about Alabama and black men. The thing is, traditionally, because of the breakup of the black family, if you don't have any the black men to get with the black female, you don't have that many black children. From nowadays, I notice the trend that I see now is mixed couples. They're not. I don't even think they know. They just make up names to call themselves. I know that my baby sister, when she was born in the 70s, and her dad is white, and my mom is black. And if you ask her what color she is, she'll tell you straight up, "I'm strawberry."
Okay.
And she's just strawberry. And the thing is, traditionally, it's going into depressed neighborhoods where the jobs, because the agenda of this country has been geared more towards socialism. All these stimulus checks, and then AI, the jobs moving. If you don't have the education, then the jobs that were paid to keep you in to take care of you and your family go to other people that have access to the education and everything, and so they don't have anything to do. So they feel like, well, I might as well get high.
And you know what? You brought up a good point. A couple of weeks ago, we did the show on AI, and we were talking about how the rural and depressed areas ended up going in to get their eyes scanned by Sam Altman and his crew because they didn't have any money. And we have Dr. Yavanka Farabee, and she's on with us tonight, and she says they do everything in Africa after gifting them with technology. And that is so true. We see that happening all the time. So we were talking about how this, I thought I heard a hint of someone saying how this drug is getting into the States. What we did, we investigated, and it's coming from China. It is sent to Mexico, and then it comes across the border from Mexico into the States. But my curiosity, and we don't ever say we have all the answers on this show. As a matter of fact, we have more questions for y'all than answers. It's a porch. It's a platform for us to all bring our perspectives and our ideas and thoughts and, our intellect and all of those things to bear here. And my question becomes, it goes from China to Mexico. Mexico across the border here in Southern California into the United States. How is it being pipelined directly into Alabama, into Missouri, into the predominantly Black cities in the United States? And not only the predominantly Black, but the most oppressed areas. Financially oppressed, marginalized, if you know, disenfranchised, whatever you want to say. How is it? What is that? And obviously, okay, there are drug lords who are shipping it. But there are pharmaceuticals and pharmacists who are shipping it from China to Mexico, right? Then once it hits Mexico and comes into the United States, there has to be a channel, there has to be a pipeline how it's getting into our neighborhoods. And so we know they're drug dealers, obviously. I mean,
the thing you got to look at is our borders have been open for a long time now. And we have people, illegal people, they're not coming in the bushes and stuff. They flying in on planes, they catching buses and everything. And this country, the melting pot, and they're not really screening people anymore or anything, and it's just coming in all kinds of ways. And every time they tried, the states and everything went to go to try to check their borders, so where they're at, our federal government intervened. They got
we know how it's getting targeted at our people, because this is NPR. This is a national platform. Problem in Alabama, but like the borders are open and people can get in any old kind of way. But this seems systematic. It's not an accident.
No, it's not.
So what's in Alabama? So what is in Alabama that they gotta where they're playing with the people there, the people that's depressed there, that they're trying to keep control of? What is in Alabama? Who's in Alabama?
Another question to stack on top of that question is, who is the they?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think when people are coming from Mexico, I'm just going to say it, there's a lot of mules coming in, bringing in these drugs. And, some officials that work those borders have a lot to do with letting mules in with full of drugs and different things like that. I think the targeted comes from Alabama with this recent, not recent, but a lot of political rises in Alabama now. And a lot of people are heading certain offices in Alabama. Alabama used to be Alabama, but right now it's a lot of people that's in charge of a lot more than it used to be. So Alabama is not what it used to be. So I don't know if it's they trying to bring Alabama back to where it used to be, but someone is targeting Black men there.
That's a really interesting question that you're raising. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
No, it's an interesting question that you're raising about who would benefit from these fentanyl deaths. And what I found today, and thank you, Auntie Genoa, she sent me some information about the Alabama Department of Mental Health, right? They've put together vital resources to help persons suffering from addiction, family members, providers, and professionals find needed information. But when I went on the website to see who the team is that they formed to initiate these initiatives, they're all white. But the epidemic is facing all Black males. 40% more Black males than any other demographic that are non-Black Hispanics, non-white Hispanics. Black men is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Interesting that the dollars are coming into Alabama Department of Mental Health, but where are we? Because these issues, the root of these issues, okay, let's go there. The root of these issues become like I've written in my book, Healing the Wounds of American Slavery, become fear that they're not going to be able to provide for their families, and other fears of, justice system, police, all the policing that's going on, and the brutality, the grief, and the brokenness, especially in more rural areas. Hi, Ricardo. He says the wounded are the most likely to fall victim. Whole people don't try drugs, and that is absolutely true. That's my point. You're anesthetizing their pain.
I agree.
You're anesthetizing their pain. Over the deaths. I was thinking about, families that survive police brutality and murder, like Eric Garner, remember, was a brother who was selling single cigarettes to supplement his family's income, and they choked him out. I can't breathe. The first I can't breathe victim. And they were doing an illegal chokehold on that man, and he died. But the point is, his daughter then survives, Erica Garner, but she just died of a heart problem. And when you think about a heart disease or a heart ailment, her heart was broken.
It was broken.
And you think about all the families that are the survivors of victims who either fell to police brutality or some other systematic form of brutality, mental, physical, or otherwise, emotional, and the kind of pain that causes. Sometimes it's chronic physical pain. Sometimes it's chronic mental illness and emotional pain, psychological pain, and they're using this to anesthetize the pain. And if you don't have money, right? If you don't have money and you want to get high, you're going to go for the cheapest thing. That's why crack worked.
Yes.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's
other thing you got to look at
the root of it.
The other thing you got to look at, when we saw the port, everything can come in there. It's on the water.
Yeah.
Remember, everything's right there. It's easy. They can come in and leave out.
That's so good.
It's on the water.
That's so good.
Real
so
good.
Hadn't thought about that. Very good.
That is amazing, because people, the disadvantaged, or the people that have, displaced or homeless or and that's going to raise the crime rate, and that's going to raise a lot of deaths of people getting shot just because maybe they're on these drugs and they go try to break in or somewhere to try to get more, and then now we got people getting shot to death. It just trickles into so many different things, all death for Black men. Yeah. And this has got to stop. I mean, we have to let people know what is really going on.
It's really the awareness. You're absolutely right, because a lot of people, they say, well, how can we stop this? What can we do about this? The first step in anything is understanding it. My people perish for a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Once you know better, you can do better. Once you know what your enemy is, then you can attack it back.
Yes.
And you can also be proactive about it. Let's see. This is Michael Hopper. Opioid pills help to cope with physical and emotional pain. Absolutely. And this is my husband. He watched me go through that addiction. because that at the end of the day, that's what it was. As much as I don't want to say, that I was addicted to something, I was, and I will admit that, because if I can say it and testify about it and it helps somebody else, then hey, my life is not my own anyway. It's not. And the way that it happened, it was so slick.
It was slick.
It was so slick.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the way that it's happening.
Slick like Coke, when the cocaine was in actually Coke. That's why they call it Coke, because cocaine was in it. So many people were addicted to Coke. A lot of people died of cancer with that cocaine. And so it's not only in, on the side streets. They put it in our food, our water. The Coke supposedly have changed to caffeine now.
Right.
Still, it was Coke in the Coke. That's why they call it Coke.
Literal cocaine. And
so funny, there's people that are looking for the original formula too.
You know what? I think if they go to Mexico, they might find some. They have a Mexican Coca-Cola, and then they have the American Coca-Cola. I wonder, because the people they fiend for that Mexican Coca-Cola. So in the interview on NPR, Ricky Smiley, the comedian, he also said, it's bad here. A lot of young people are showing up at the funeral home dying of fentanyl. You know what? When I heard that, my mind went to, they're not dying of fentanyl. They're dying of fear. They're dying of grief.
Yes.
They're dying of brokenness. They're dying of death all around them.
Yes.
They're dying of chronic pain and mental and physical pain. That's what they're dying of, because that's at the root of what they're trying to mask with the fentanyl.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yeah,
people
absolutely
are in
right.
pain. They turn to pharmaceuticals for relief. That makes it very easy for them to succumb to laced medications, laced meds. And show us the pictures now, DY, of the fake pharmaceuticals and the authentic pharmaceuticals, because really all pharmaceuticals are pharmakia, which is magic. That's a whole other show. But on the left of the screen there, we've got the authentic Xanax. But then the fake Xanax, which is laced with the fentanyl, is on the right. And it doesn't look much different. And if this is your first prescription, you don't know the difference.
No.
And once you're hooked, you're addicted to these pharmaceuticals, then you'll go and try to get some fake stuff on the street. You'll get whatever you can get to try to ease your pain. Authentic oxycodone, fake oxycodone.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
When you go to the pharmacy now, what they do is they give you a paperwork with your prescription. And in the paperwork, it gives you a description of what your pills look like and what color they should be. That's what they've been doing it for a while now. And how it's used. And if this is your first time getting a prescription, what they do is they have a pharmacist come and talk to you and explain certain things to you. But in the paperwork, it tells you what the pills are, what they're for, what they look like, what color they are, and everything. But most people don't look at that paperwork. They just pull the little prescription out of there and just
start taking pills because their doctor said they should.
Right.
They don't ask enough questions.
Go ahead.
No, I said they don't ask enough questions.
What is that doing to a people? And then also look at it this way. If they're having generic drugs, and then you have the authentic drugs, or whatever you want to call it, name brand drugs, and anybody that has a lot of money, of course, they can afford the authentic drugs. But if you don't have that, then you're stuck with the drugs that they're making up, the drugs that they're lacing, because it's something's going on here.
Right.
Something's going on. And it's right. They do give you all of these pills. They give you an explanation of this, and all of it is this X, Y's, and Z's, and P's and Q's. And it's hard to pronounce. But you know what, and people are you're skipping over that part because of it. It's not in layman's terms where people can, and people that are not medical doctors or medical professions can go and try to look at this. You have to look it up for yourselves. But if you're in pain, you're in agony, things are bad for you, that's not what you're going to do. You're right. You're going to take that drug to make yourself feel better.
Whatever
Who
you
wants
think
to
will
be
help
sick
you.
and in pain?
That's right. One of the men in the interview, Caddy Abbott, said access to care, cost, affordability, awareness of a program that could actually help me, all of those are barriers and they greatly impact Black males. And plus, Black men in this country have a history of not trusting the medical industry anyway, and rightfully so. When we think about the Tuskegee experiment and others, so many things. Another man said that Black men often experience racism in the medical system and they don't trust it. It's ultra devastating and it's compounding because we've already experienced disparity and we're experiencing disparity. Comedian Ricky Smiley says he did all he knew for his son, Brandon. Brandon, his son, took pills and wasn't aware that they were laced with fentanyl. He entered into a rehab program and treatment facilities, but Brandon continued to struggle with addiction. Let's talk about Prince for a second. Because Prince was taking pain medicine for all the years of entertainment, jumping off of speakers onto the floor, sliding across stages on his knees, doing all that stuff for years and years and years and years. So
in heels.
In
heels.
No, he didn't. So
in heels.
In heels. And
that make a difference.
I mean, it's really not funny what happened to this man, but I get it. But I mean, he was taking pain medication and nothing happened to him for a long time. I mean, he was taking the pain medication and it probably wasn't the best thing for him to be doing, but he was taking it and it was giving him some relief. Well, 6 days before Prince died, a doctor prescribed some new pills for him. And when he took those pills is when he died. Well, the first incident was, remember, he was on his private jet going from somewhere in the US back to Minnesota where, Paisley Park is. And remember that he was unresponsive on that flight and they had to land the plane and take care of him. Well, what they're supposed to give them when they're having one of these overdoses from the fentanyl is a drug called Narcan. The name of the company is Narcan, and the name of the drug is naloxone. And I don't know if they administered that to them, but it was implied that whoever took care of him when he landed, with it being unresponsive, he had to land and be taken care of medically, that whoever was taking care of him did not take care of him properly. So that was within 6 days of his death. And interesting that it was right after he had reclaimed his catalog, his music catalog, and was helping other artists to do the same and was speaking out against that whole phenomenon. Now, here's what I was sharing with Genoa earlier. This is what gave me pause to really try to figure out, and it's not hard to figure out what was going on when you think about this. When they went into Paisley Park after Prince had died, he was unresponsive in an elevator, died all by himself, they say. They found bottles and bottles all over Paisley Park of opioids laced with fentanyl. There was one bag. I wish I had that picture. I wish I had the picture. You guys know the blue pouches that business owners take to the bank when they're taking their cash into the bank to deposit it, those blue zipper bags. They found among his binders of lyrics and unreleased music, his vault, inside of his vault, they found a blue pouch full of, that thing was fat with opioid pills laced with fentanyl. And guess what? The outside of the pouch was labeled opioid. Like, Somebody planted that there.
Who does that? Don't a black person do that?
Opioid and put it on a shelf.
No, that's crazy.
In other words, it's look at this.
Black people don't do that.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is how we know that it was really him. Because look, he had this in.
Yeah.
Prince wasn't ready to die.
No, he had a lot of life left.
He had a lot of life left. He had
Especially after he got his catalog back. Oh my God.
Same thing with Michael Jackson. He died of a fentanyl overdose.
A lot of life left.
And yeah. I don't remember if he had retrieved his catalog, but I know for sure that he had the Beatles catalog.
He did.
He wasn't selling it.
He was not selling that. So, you know,
hey, it's a question.
I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but you know, some things dots just connect sometimes.
Yeah, something just pop out. Come on, a label of this is labeled and it's got a big fat thing over there.
Right there.
I mean, come on, let's just think about that for a second.
Let's think about it.
So does the living Beatles have their catalog
and there was
now?
uneaten food. There was uneaten food on the table. So that man was planning on having dinner, not dying in his elevator.
No.
I'm sorry, Auntie Genoa, go ahead.
No, the question is, did any of the Beatles get any of their catalog back after that?
I don't know.
Where is it at? Who got it?
Oh, you know what? Didn't the family sell it? Didn't the estate sell it to the back to the record company? So that
they're still living Beatles. Michael? Why wouldn't they want?
Michael said they got it back.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's insane. Now they're addicted to the food. If they can't get you on traditional drugs, they will get you on food drugs. McDonald's 19 ingredients in the fries alone. Sickness is big business. And you know what else is big business? While DY and I were researching this topic, we just started going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. And we were saying to ourselves, you know, if they can't lock brothers down in the mass incarceration system, then they're going to kill them. Yeah. And anything to break up the Black family. And so we start looking into the companies who are investing in the mass incarceration system. Now, this is a little rabbit trail, but I'm going to take you there just for a minute. Since Ricardo Love, thank you, Ricardo. Welcome to the show. Since Ricardo Love brought it up, McDonald's was one of the top 12 companies investing in mass incarceration. And you know what they have the brothers doing? You're never going to believe this. They have them making beef patties for their burgers. Wow. And manufacturing those great fries Ricardo just talked about, which, by the way, if you left one of those fries sit in your car for 20 years, you go back and it looks exactly the same as when you left it in there.
Yes.
What was the name of it? Super Size Me. Go see Super Size Me.
Oh, yeah.
But there were so many corporations. And also, Victoria's Secret had the female inmates sewing undergarments and Victoria's Secret garments and Fidelity Investments. And there were so many. Just look it up. Which companies are investing in mass incarceration or the privatized prison system.
You know, but that is we have to really look at what we're eating, you know, because as the prisoners draw on the grill marks on these burgers from McDonald's, we have to realize that this food is not food. It's plastic. It's gunk. It's nothing edible. When you go to McDonald's, all you smell is fresh air. Tell me you smell some fries and some burgers cooking.
We smell grease.
Marks.
We smell grease.
I'm just laughing because I can't even imagine what they're thinking while they're drawing these lines on these burgers.
They're drawing the line. And that's exactly what's happening. We know we need to do a whole show on GMOs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't eat it.
DY's chiming in. MJ owned the Beatles and Elvis's music catalogs. That's right. Because of Priscilla Presley, not Priscilla Presley, but Lisa Presley. I
Yes.
think that's how he got a hold of it. The two biggest selling artists sounds like someone didn't want him to turn the tides and own a piece of white history. Good point.
Oh, but it's okay for them to own. It's okay to own all of ours, right?
Right. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about is the killing laws, right? The slave killing laws. All of this stems back to slavery.
Yes.
It really does. I know. Paige, why are you always talking about slavery? Because I wrote a little book. It's called Healing the Wounds of American Slavery. And all of this stems and roots back to it. But one of the things that they were doing was oftentimes they would kill a slave. They would kill a slave because the slave was, running away too much. Casual killing law. That's right. They were running away too much, or they were a leader among the enslaved. And, they were afraid that they were going to organize and rebel. And a lot of them did, thank goodness, But because of that law, the casual killing law, think about that. Casual killing. The slaves were insured. They had insurance on the slaves, just like they did on the cattle and the pigs and the horses and all of their livestock. We were considered livestock. So that means that there was no real value on the humanity, the human life that was before them, because they could just kill them and nothing would happen. The casual killing law, because it's your property. You do what you want with your property. So let's fast forward to today's cultural construct, where we're still thought of as just bodies, and devalued bodies at that. And so what does it matter if, all these Black men in Alabama die from fentanyl poison? What does it matter? I mean, there are also children, as Ricky Smiley, who's from Alabama, has been watching these Black boys come into the funeral homes, dead bodies from fentanyl poison. So it's not like when we say Black men, we're not talking about men in their 50s, 60s, 70s. We're talking about Black men across the board.
Right.
And any way that they can break down the Black family, they will, whether someone's got to die or not.
That's right.
They don't care. If they can't get you criminally, if they can't attach crimes to you, to your body, let's take you out. Either way, you're not in the Black family anymore. You're not there with your Black family unit. So that's what's at the root of all of this.
It is.
It's the fear. It's the death. It's the wounds. It's the grief. It's the brokenness. It's the hopelessness, the helplessness, and masking that pain, masking and pretending that everything is okay, that I'm gonna be all right. I'm tough. I'm bad. I'm brave. I'm bold. I'm all the things, but underneath it, terrified, and rightfully so. But we're not here to frighten you. We're here to make you aware. That's what the aunties are here for. It's to bring all of these current events to bear, all of these things that are going on. It's not without purpose. Nothing happens by accident, and nothing is wasted with God. Nothing is wasted. All the things are there to drive certain behaviors up to the surface for us to deal with. Right? So what are we going to do with this? We need to inform those who are out there and the most vulnerable, which is our teenage children.
If they'll listen. But the thing is, this is the issue. This is the issue. A lot of the stuff that's going on now, they do long-term planning. We ain't talking about 5, 10. We're talking 30, 40, 50, 100 years. It don't matter if the person that started the project can finish it. They already have a baton system that they pass it off So the get certain things in, because when you're talking generations, or what a generation is 40 years. And it's a lot of stuff that can happen in 40 years that can change the next generation. And even the generation now, they're changing the history in the books. So the stuff that they're going to learn is not the stuff that my children learn, and it's certainly not the stuff that I learned. They've been dumbing everybody down about how the country works and history and everything for the longest. And so about time you get to the actual children, they don't know anything, because the parents,
why they don't know anything.
The parents aren't teaching. They're not
and
sharing.
You know why the parents aren't teaching?
Scared, fear,
because their parents
trying to make a living.
Here's the thing. We can sit in hopelessness and helplessness about it. Or will it happen for it's a long pipeline and it goes back 40 years, hundreds of years, and there's nothing we can do about it. We can go there, or we can go to the reality that we sit in, which is that 40 years, 100 years, 300 years, 400 years can automatically and instantaneously be broken like that.
Yes. Yes.
And we've got to stop sitting in the hopelessness and helplessness that our enemy wants us to sit in.
You know what? I think that we are coming out of a lot of stuff. True, healing the wounds of American slavery must go to the masses and everyone, because of what America did. But there's another side. There is the hopeless despair and things that you're going through, but there and all of that passed down through the DNA. It's the same thing with the oppressor. I'm in charge. This is where I want things. That was passed down too. So everybody got a part to play, and we need to put a spotlight on it and expose it. And and let everybody, and you won't know that until you get the knowledge, which is the book is helping. I mean, just read it, because you'll see what the matrix that you're stuck in. And that's the knowledge you need.
Let me tell you something. And I wasn't going to go here tonight, but I'm going to. I'm getting like a prompting that I can. Listen, healing the wounds of American slavery is an antidote to a lot of what we're talking about tonight.
Yes.
And I know people, and people know me, who could make a phone call, who could push a button, who could do whatever it is they do, that would literally put this book on the global map.
Yes.
But there is a wound called crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
There is a wound called jealousy. Mm-hmm. There is a wound called, blockage and delay.
Fear.
Mm-hmm. Fear, above all. Fear is the big daddy, right?
Yes.
And I just find it interesting that so many people said to me, "Oh, Paige, you know what? This is such a great book, and it's such a good idea. And if you just get on a platform and and then we come on the platform, people say they want the information. They say they want it. And it's here. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. Because at the end of the day, the information can't be blocked. It's going to go where it's supposed to go."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I just find that interesting that we have that phenomenon in our culture. Let's just put it that way. Right? Because we will absolutely all benefit from it.
Yes.
It's not like somebody's going to get rich and I'm going to be left out, and that person's going to shine more than I shine. And those are all of the things, that fear of missing out, FOMO, that comparison, it's a killer.
Yes.
The end of comparison and jealousy is death.
Yes.
Death of dreams, death of friendships, death of relationships, death of communities, literal physical death. You've got something I want. If I can't have it, you won't have it either.
Right.
These are the things we talk about in this book. These are the things that we talk about on this show. And we are your aunties. So we're bringing it to you. Critical information. We're talking about fentanyl here. We're talking about it, the main killer right now in Alabama, and it's spreading. It's spreading. This is just the beginning. We're just scratching the surface. We talk about these things. They're hard things to talk about. If we were on here talking about fashion or entertainment or sports, this program will be loaded up.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're talking about things that get down to the absolute brass tacks, the roots of what's going on, because it's so painful. But to have any healing, you have to go through the pain to get to the other side.
Yes, you
Right?
do. Yes,
but we're bringing it to you in a very folksy and loving way.
By the way, thanks Ricardo for posting information.
Ricardo posted where you can find the book. Thank you, Ricardo. We really appreciate your support and your love. Listen, I'm encouraged. I'm not going to get discouraged because we must be almost there, because I was just sitting quietly and I was discouraged, and I was thinking about all the people that I've supported over the years, loved on, poured into, was right there holding their hand, have given businesses away for free to people, all kinds of things. And we're on this show tonight, and we've got 3 people watching. And that's okay, because you know what? How many can put 10,000 a flight?
2. 1 chase 1,000. 2.
And so God said, Paige, just be consistent. Just keep showing up. And you know what I said? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Amen.
So here we are, and we will not stop.
No.
And we will grow. We will grow. And,
That's right.
And more importantly than us growing, our people will begin to get this medicine.
Yes.
This is medicine.
Yes, it is.
You know, this is our naloxone for the OD of numbness and denial, and not wanting to go in deep to get our deliverance, not wanting to go in deep to get our healing.
Yes.
It's not going to come through, music. And it's not going to come through politics and education and economics and all of the things that we have been looking to. The politics is not going to come through those things. It's only going to come through the knowledge. These shows are staying alive in the vault. Republished on every audio platform. Thank you, brother. I love Ricardo. He has been supporting Michael and I for years.
Wow, beautiful.
When nobody else was around. And he just has a wealth of gifts and talents and just a heart for people and a heart for our healing. And I just thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. I feel very supported tonight. And somebody, Arlene Barbie. Hi, Arlene.
That's my cousin. Hey, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, she looks like you. Exactly, she says. The long-term planning they're doing behind the scenes is humongous. It affects the future of all people. Pity, war, sickness, worldwide governing, you name it. Yes, that's true. And I'm going to say one more thing before we go. The Willie Lynch letter, the one that puts the old against the young, the light skin against the dark skin, the field hands against the house Negroes, and all that kind of stuff. In that document, there is a very little known phrase. And the phrase goes into, yes, if you instate these things, these principles, this blueprint, then it will imprison them in their own minds, the Black people in their own minds, and pitting against each other for years and years and years and years again. But there's one phrase that says, unless there is a huge phenomenon that can come along and break the cycle. Healing the roots of American slavery is that phenomenon. I'm Paige Means Hopper. We are Your Aunties. It's been as Les Brown says, a plum pleasing pleasure. Here with you tonight, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.